Right now, it's time to talk inside the game with Steve Clark. And Steve, we're going to the obvious place, College Football Playoffs National Championship game tonight between Miami and Indiana. But in order to benefit from where we are today, it's always good to take a look back. Just a quick reminder, who won this game last year?
That would be Ohio State.
Oh, the Ohio State Buckeyes,
The defending national champions who we haven't talked about their exit to the to those Miami Hurricanes. How are you feeling out there about the championship, Miami and Ohio State's ouster, Dave?
Well, I know, Dave, this is a question for you, but to me, I know Indiana's favored to win, and so I think whenever that happens, I get a little nervous. You know, I'd love to see Indiana pull it off, but Miami could do it.
Yeah, Cignetti, I would not put anything against this guy. I mean, I believe Indiana wins this. I don't believe that they win it as big as they've been winning games throughout the playoffs, but I think they pull this one off. What do you think, Steve?
Well, I mean, it's an absolutely huge game. I think Indiana is basically dominant on both sides of the ball. I think there's a couple of instances where Miami might have the edge. Potentially Miami's running game over Indiana's rush defense might be a key there. But most of the things when you look at it on a matchup, but don't go, Fernando Mendoza versus Carson Beck. Go Fernando Mendoza against the defense or the running backs against the linebackers or receivers against the secondary, not receivers versus receivers. Miami's going to have a chance in this one. I think their pass rush is going to have to come back to life. And I think Indiana is going to play it legit. Ole Miss last week decided to throw short and get the ball out of Trinidad Chambliss' hands quickly to avoid the pass rush. I think Indiana is going to play it straight up, which will allow Miami's pass rush to get some hits on Mendoza. And if Indiana has been talking a lot about their success being due to synergy and trust, what happens if that gets broken up? Again, by the Miami pass rush where things aren't as easy. That couple of turnovers and a couple big plays from freshman sensation Malachi Toney could put Miami into a spot to actually make the upset. But you have to be a crazy person to be doubting Indiana at this point because they've just proven everybody wrong all across the way, from having what would be called a timid rebound season after a great first year by Cignetti, to absolutely losing at Oregon, to having no shot against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Indiana just keeps proving the doubters wrong.
Yeah, and it's amazing because, look, we just wrapped up another recruiting segment here, and everybody's after these 4 or 5 stars and star recruits in the portal, also obviously straight out of high school. And Indiana's doing this without them. What do they have, 7 4-star recruits? That's it. And Miami has a ton on their roster. Oregon, that they just beat, had 55 versus Indiana's 7. There's something special in the sauce there at Indiana. Obviously, they're not doing it with the best recruits, but they're getting it done.
They're doing it with older guys who have a ton of chemistry. And that's what's going on. And it's not unsimilar to what Michigan did. And a lot of people doubted Michigan couldn't win their championship in 23 because they just didn't have the 5 stars that Alabama had. And now if Indiana pulls this off, this will be the second time in 3 years where this narrative is kind of getting destroyed. Also, like how the Big Ten can't win national championships.
Yeah, right.
If Indiana pulls this off, this is the 3rd straight Big Ten not Big Ten championship, but national championship that they would have. And the SEC hasn't even made it to the finals in the past 3 seasons. So a lot of narratives are kind of being ripped apart as we speak. And of course, NIL and the portal, maybe that's changed things. Maybe it hasn't. But a lot of people believe that, the SEC will tell you, well, we're not winning because of the rules and the transfer and the portal. And it proves that since we're not in it, everything is broken.
Yeah, right.
And that's the SEC excuse. Maybe the Big Ten is just getting better. All right. And things go into cycles. But Indiana, they've got their quarterback for next year already. He's not the most decorated quarterback of all time. But once again, he is an older guy who's made accomplishments. and that's Tyler Hoover out of TCU.
Yeah,
So
it'll be interesting to see now your theory about how this has all come about. You've got older players, more mature, playing well together. Kind of flies in the face of my theory that Signetti picked up a bottle, it had a genie in it, and he said to the genie, "My first wish is a national championship." That's the only way I can make sense of this thing.
right. Well, it's funny you bring that up, Dave, because as we've had to wait 10 days between games, the articles are coming out about everybody trying to find out that that Signetti in Indiana's got to be cheating, because it's the only way that they could ascend.
Yeah.
People in Michigan has heard this, for a couple of years too.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's that going on. No one has found anything, but people just want to muck it up just so that it can make Indiana's run seem a little bit spoiled.
Yeah.
But this is going to be one heck of a game. I am certainly not going to miss it. And what a story it would be in all of college football.
Yeah.
Not only for Indiana to win it, but how would you rank this team as an NCAA champion since the creation of the playoff? It's going to be one of the top 3 to 5 teams, going undefeated and dominating in big games the way they've had so far. The obvious comparison is LSU in 2019 under Joe Burrow and how dominant they were on offense. Indiana can add a defensive element to it as well. So it's absolutely huge. And then what we have to talk about later is what the playoff field is going to look like next year. And as it stands right now, that field is going to remain to 12.
Oh, okay.
The Big Ten and the SEC have failed to agree on what the format will be ahead of this Friday's already extended deadline to find common ground. And both the Big Ten and the SEC want to expand the playoff field to at least 16 teams, but the Big Ten wants to make it 24. The SEC isn't there. They want to cap it at 16 and go from there. I understand Tony Batiti's argument. We'll get to that argument next week and what that's all about, but they have Friday to make a unified decision. If there isn't one, and right now there isn't, the field will be at 12 for 2027.
You've got a little while. By next football season, you got to brush up on the Big Sky, because we've got Montana State, that big rivalry for our new listeners out there in Montana, Steve.
Yeah, they're 2 of the 4 powers that are in the FCS. That, along with South Dakota State, and we'll add North Dakota State into that one as well.
It'll be fun to pay attention to as we come to next year's football season.
Well, I know where everybody's going to be tonight.
Absolutely right. Hey, finally, that NFC Conference Championship games are set. The LA Rams beating the Bears in overtime. New England beating Houston. How about this for an NFC matchup? The Seahawks and Rams both won by the Seahawks, but by a combined 3 points.
Ooh,
See
yeah.
you Super Bowl Monday.
Really thrilling. Thanks, Steve.